Thank you so much for coming out to our special Veterans Program tonight. To start our program off, we're going to have the American Legion Post 39 post the colors, and Post Commander Don Gardner will then lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Color Guard, post colors. With me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to turn the time back over to Susanna.
Okay, thank you, Commander Gardner. We're going to have our prayer by Mike Rouse, and then Ray Quinn will recite this ragged old flag for us.
Good evening. It's really a pleasure to be able to come out here and see all these good people that are here tonight. I've been asked to recite the ragged old flag. This means a lot to me because one of my best friends, that was his favorite thing, and I think everybody will remember Blake Jones. Well, without further ado, I walked across a county courthouse square, and on a park bench there was an old man sitting there. I said, "Your old courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "Nah, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your old flagpole is leaned a bit, and that's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat." So I sat down. He said, "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "I think it is." He said, "You know, I don't mean to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, we got a little hole in that flag there when Washington took her across the Delaware. And she got powder burned the night that Francis Scott Key sat up watching her while writing, 'Oh, say, can you see?' She got a bad rip in New Orleans with Packenham and Jackson tugging at her seams. And she almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on through. She got cut with a sword in Chancellorsville. She got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg. The south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. And on Flanders Field in World War I, she took a bad hit from a Bertha gun. Excuse me. Oh, and she turned blood red in World War II. She hung low and limp by the time that one was through. She's been to Korea and Vietnam, Iraq and Afghanistan. She goes wherever she's sent by her Uncle Sam. She's waved from our ships on the briny foam, but we've just about quit waving her here at home. And in the very land for which she stands, she's been abused, neglected, burned, and refused. and the very government for which she stands has been scandalized throughout the land. Oh, she's getting threadbare, and she's wearing kind of thin, but she's still in good shape for the shape that she's in, because she's been through the fire before, and she can do a whole lot more. So we raise her every morning, and we bring her down slowly every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we fold her up just right. And on second thought, I do mean to brag, 'cause we're mighty proud of that ragged old flag. Thank you.
Next. Ray, thank you. That was amazing. Next, we're going to have a musical tribute to all of the different branches, thank you, branches of the military. And when your theme is sung, please stand up so we can honor you. We are lucky tonight to have veterans that are going to speak to us about their experiences. And our first speaker will be Chris Hardman. Chris served in the Navy for 20 years. During that time, He was a part of Operation Just Cause Panama, and I wrote very small, Operation Desert Shield, Operation Desert Storm, and Operation Iraqi Freedom. And I'm going to turn the time over to Chris. And then after Chris, Dawn Gardner will speak to us.
I'm going to put this down. Can everybody hear me? Because I like to move around a little bit, so I don't want to get stuck behind a podium. But I like to move around. Yes, I am Chris Hardman. I did 20 years in the Navy. 10 of those were on sea duty. I got 10 years of sea duty. I was at my first command of Special Boat Unit 12. From there, I went to the USS Cape Cod, AD 43. It's an auxiliary destroyer out of San Diego. From there, I went to SEMA San Diego. It's my first shore duty. So my first 6 years were on sea duty. I went to shore duty, went right back to a ship after that to the USS George Philip, my favorite ship. I'm going to get into that a lot because that is my favorite ship. And then from there, I went back to shore duty. I went to Boise, Idaho for shore duty. When I was done with when I got done with the George Philip, USS George Philip, I told them I want to go anywhere except for on the ocean. I'd done 9 years on the ocean. I was tired of being out at sea, so they sent me to Boise, Idaho, to a Navy Reserve Center, where I was 1 to 10 people, active duty members there. From there, I went to the USS Dexterous. Is a mine sweep, homeported out of Bahrain. So instead of, it was, the mine sweep community is out of Texas. I moved my family to Texas. And then from there, I went straight to the Middle East. Okay, so like she said, I've been in part of, I've done 3 wars. I've done Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Iraqi Freedom, plus 6 deployments. So what does that mean? 10 years of sea duty. Think about that, 10 years of sea duty. I want to talk about the sacrifice everybody that stood up here has made. And I'd really love to talk to you after we're done here. I saw you stand as a Navy. I want to see what you've been through. But 10 years, let me tell you about the sacrifice. And I'm going to talk a lot about the Navy because that's what I know. I did 20 years in the Navy, so I'm going to talk a lot about the Navy. But that's not to put aside what everybody here has done for our country. Every vet here has made sacrifice. But 10 years of sea duty. I missed the birth of my first child. I did 10 years of sea. I have been gone for, we got Thanksgiving coming up, we got Christmas coming up, we've got, there's birthdays, there's anniversaries. I've missed Christmases, Thanksgivings, you name it, every holiday there is, I have missed. I have missed birthdays, I have missed anniversaries, I've missed a lot of things in my life. But my part is just a small portion. Let me tell you what the other side goes through. My wife, who had to deal with everything while I was gone. There's a lot of stuff that Navy wives, Army wives, Marine wives, the spouses go through when we are not at home. Because yes, we signed up for this. We are, sailors are meant to be on ships. Ships are built to be at sea. So I was gone. But who takes care of the home front when we're gone? My spouse. She took care of, she was mom, she was dad, she was mechanic, she was taxi driver, you name it. She had to do both roles. So anybody who's been a single parent, man, I feel for you, because my wife has been a single parent for many years. Okay, not only that, the sacrifice that my kids make in the military, and I'm speaking mainly for the Navy, every 3 to 4 years, you change commands. Okay, you go from ship to ship or ship to shore. And so you change commands. So that means you move. We've moved, I think, 19 times, something like that. How many?
Tell numbers prior on there.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we've moved countless times. If your kid is in elementary, they pack up, you move, they got to make new friends again. If junior high, once they're in junior high, it's time to move. You pack up, you move. I don't know how many times I've heard it said that if the military wanted you to have a family, they would have issued you one. So you have that. Okay, so a lot of sacrifice. Some things that I think are pretty cool. Okay, the Navy, okay, every branch means travel. You're going to travel. Only the Navy, they can't hide it because you're on a ship. You're always gone. So I have been around the world not once, but twice. 10 years will get you around the world twice. And for those of you who like to travel, I've made a list of everywhere I've been, and I'm not sure if it's complete because I did this later on, and so I don't know if all of them are complete. But I've been to Hawaii 6 times, Japan, Bahrain, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Guam, Philippines, Thailand, Bali, Brunei, Australia, New Caledonia, Palau, East Timor, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Jebel Ali, Kuwait, Italy, Sicily, Greece, Ireland, England, Panama Canal, through the Panama Canal, Costa Rica, British Columbia, Alaska, Puerto Vallarta, Ensenada, Key West, Guantanamo Bay, Indonesia, and Spain. And I'm sure there's places that I've left out. Because like I said, I've been around the world twice. I have 10 years of sea duty. I've been places, a lot of places. But some of the sacrifices, again, I've been through Desert Storm. I've been to Desert Shield. I've been to Iraq, or Iraqi Freedom. And it isn't easy. It is probably harder for Marines, Army, maybe Air Force. I'm not sure because, they fly over. But Navy, we don't do hand-to-hand combat per se, unless you do what's called an IA, an individual augment, where they take you and they put you with the Army or the Marines, and you go out with them. But the Navy, we did a lot in the Persian Gulf, a lot. My first ship was a destroyer tender. My second ship was a frigate, fast frigate guided missile. I spent a lot of time on there, and I'm going to talk about that because, again, that's my favorite ship. And then my last ship was a mine sweep, which was homeported in Bahrain. So our job was to go out and we would circle the Persian Gulf, and our job was to try and find as many mines as we could. That was our job. Again, it was homeported there, so if you were on that ship, that's where you lived. You weren't with your family, you were there, not here. So, but all the, my mouth's getting dry already. Everybody here that had stood up when their songs were raised, man, I salute you. It is tough. Okay, so shipboard life. Let me tell you about shipboard life. All right, shipboard life. When you're out to sea, you work 7 days a week. Sunday is supposed to be a day off, but every day you're out to sea, you stand 2 4-hour watches. So when you're out to sea, Sunday is your day off. However, you stand 2 4-hour watches sometime during the day, or not during the day. You go from midnight to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16, or 12 to 4 for you civilians, 16 to 20, 20 to 24. So you just rotate. So every night you stand a watch. Every day you stand a watch. So if you're out to sea, Sunday, which is your day off, is not a day off because you still work 8 hours during the day. The only difference is is when you're not on watch, you can wear civilian clothes. Matter of fact, on Sundays, I don't know how well you can see this, it's called a still beach picnic. So if we were in a combat zone, we could be in our cities that usually barbecue, and you'd go out on the flight deck, and a beach is just a body surrounded by water. So we'd have a still beach picnic. And you'd go out there, we'd play basketball, we'd do whatever we wanted to do. Well, not whatever you wanted to do, but you could go outside and spend time in your civilian clothes, which wasn't very often. So the frigate I was on, I was on the second smallest ship in the Navy and the smallest ship in the Navy. A frigate, USS Georgefield, FFG-12, fast frigate guided missile, is 445 feet long. That's our second smallest ship in the Navy, 445 feet long. It is 45 feet wide, or at the beam is what we call it. So that being our second smallest ship, that's a mine sweep, 225 feet long and only 39 feet at the beam. So your car, and let me give you a little background of it. It's this ship right up here. I should pull that down. A frigate, your car has probably, 15, 20 gallons of gas in it. This frigate, the second smallest ship in the Navy, has 107,000 gallons of fuel. Do you know how long that lasts? Quick guess, any guess? 1 week. It takes 1 week to burn through 107,000 gallons of fuel. Why is that? We have 2 gas turbines. We have 4 SSDGs, which is a ship service diesel generator. These run 24 hours a day. Okay, your generators produce power. A ship is just a city that floats. Anything that you can find here, you'll find on a ship. However, obviously there aren't gas stations out at sea, or are there? There are gas stations out at sea. They're called oilers. And about every week we would go and find an oiler and not moor up to it, but you go alongside of it. They throw you a line, they pull the hoses over, and they fill up your gas tank. Okay? So this happens about every week. You go out of your combat zone, you go out, you find an oiler, and you refuel. It's called UNREP, or underway replenishment. Life on board ship. Okay, so you're all grown up. I'm sure all of you have ever been on a roller coaster. Is there anybody that has not ever been on a roller coaster here? Okay, is there anybody who doesn't like to eat? Well, I love to eat. Okay, so being on a ship is like eating on a roller coaster. Come lunchtime, come dinner time, you are just going like this constantly all day long. That's why sailors make great drunks. Not that I drink, but sailors make great drunks because you're always walking. You learn how to walk straight down a passageway, a P-way. So, and berthing is where you sleep. The Navy has a lot of crazy names for the inside of their ships. A wall is not a wall, it's a bulkhead. Candy is called gee-dunk. You go to the gee-dunk machine. It's not a candy machine, you go get gee-dunk. The floor is a deck, the ceiling is your overhead. Your bed is not a bed, it's a rack. Or we used to call our pit, well, hey, I'm gonna go hit my pit. You go to the shower, you go to the rain locker. And your shower, because there's a limited supply of water. We make our own water when we're out at sea. Obviously, we can't drink salt water. So we make our own water. We have distillers that, superheat the water and it turns it into steam. We use the steam for our water, or you have a reverse osmosis plant that takes all the garbage out. Okay, that's how it, and I'm telling you that some of the best tasting water I have ever had is shipboard water. But I'm sure the Marines and the Army and the Air Force have barracks. On board a ship, we have berthing. And berthing, my picture's a little bit blurry here, but you have 3 racks on either side with a 3-foot place in between you. Your rack is 7 feet long, 2.5 feet wide by 2.5 feet high. This is what a rack looks like. On board a ship, your rack is your only personal space. You have no personal space except for when you are in your rack. You climb in your rack, you close your curtains. That is your only personal space. Everywhere else is open to anybody. Okay, at nighttime, around 8 o'clock, they go to what's called darkened ship. When you're out at sea, you go to darkened ship. And anybody who's been in the Navy knows that darkened ship is when you know it's dark outside. Because I should have pulled that down. The only windows on a ship is in the pilot house. So if you're down below any of the decks, you can't, other than the lights are on, you know it's the lights are on. The only time you know it's night or day, when they go to darkened ship and they turn red lights on. That's when you know it's dark time. So if you I was part of engineering, so I spent a lot of time down in the hull. All your engineering, your engines, your turbines, anything that makes the ship go is on the bottom of the ship because they're heavy. You put them up high, you start going like this, they're going to tip over because you're top heavy. So they put everything heavy down below, down where it's low. So I spent a lot of time at the bottom of the ship. Let me hit my notes here because I got a lot more. Okay, so deployments. Deployments on a ship are normally 6 months. And nowadays, I have a brother-in-law who's still in the military, and he says because of recruitment, they've gone up. They're way up. Normally, they used to be 6 months. It wasn't unheard of to be a year or so, or even more. But now they've gone up to 7, 8, and 9 months because of recruitment. So life is a lot harder for the people now, for sailors. Okay, so I've talked about out at sea, and there's a lot more things I could do, I can go through, but in port, there's a lot of sacrifices when you're in port as well. My ship, we were in a 3-section duty. So duty is like the same as standing watches every day. I told you when you're out to sea every day, you stand 2 watches. Duty days, you also stand watch. On the USS George Philip, that was every 3 days. So you either had duty Friday or Saturday or Sunday. And a duty day consists of 24 hours plus your next work day. Okay? And when you're there, you stood one of these watches. Even though the ship is in port, you still have equipment running. So they always got to be monitored. Even today, you can go to any ship anywhere and there'll be somebody standing watch. It doesn't matter. The year 2000, if we've all been through year 2000, the computer scare, I had duty that night on New Year's Eve. Midnight, I was running through the ship, making sure, because we didn't know what was going to happen to our computers, making sure none of the engines automatically kicked on because they're all computerized. You hit a button, your generator turns on, or your turbine turns on. So midnight, instead of enjoying all the fireworks I could hear outside, I was running through the ship, making sure nothing turned on. Excuse me. So, more sacrifices. I came back from a deployment. The very next day, after staying 6 months out at sea, I had duty the very next day. My mom came down to see me. My wife and kids were obviously there, but I got to see my mom for a few hours. And then she took off, or she stayed. I had to go back to the ship, and I stood my duty. That's what it's like. It is that way all the time. You get used to it. I mean, you go out to sea for 6 months. You pull into a port once a month if you're lucky, a couple of months. So you're out to sea a lot. You pull into port and people go crazy because, they haven't seen land for a while, or you finally get a day off, but you still, even when you pull into port, people are standing watches. It doesn't matter. I usually do my presentation. I do it a lot for school, so I don't want to talk down to anybody, and I don't want to over talk to you. So I'm struggling a little bit here. But are there any questions that anybody has? Anything at all? I would love to answer questions. Anything you got, I will answer. Okay, that is all I got right now. But if you can think of any questions, go ahead and ask. Fine. Yes.
When you're on a mine ship, did you ever find them? I mean,
we didn't. However, you train for whatever it is you go out. Thank you for that, because that triggers something for me. We did not find any when we went out, but there are several ships that were before us and even after us that did find sweeps. They put you in what's called a box, and you just search that box until that box is complete, and then they put you in another box, and you search that area. But I'd like to tell you about a deployment year, which is normally 6 months. 4 months prior to going out on your 6 month deployment, you deploy again. You go out. The first month you go out, and it's engineering. They try and break your ship. Your ship grows gremlins, and you'll be steaming, and they'll turn off the fuel to one of your generators or one of your gas turbines, and it's like, hey, your gas turbine just quit. What do you do? So there's a lot of things that you got to learn. The military trains every day. That's what we do. Unless you're on deployment, you are training. You go out to sea and you train. That third month is for engineering. The second month, before you deploy, is for combat. Combat has to know what they're doing. They put you through scenario. And my job in the Navy is I was a welder. If you're a welder or a machinist, you're automatically on the damage control team. Why that is I guess because you're part of repair, so you're automatically on the fire department. So not only the first month where I'm running around fixing the ship when your people come on and turn off valves to see how you can react to fixing your ship. The next part is combat, and they always go through, hey, a missile just hit your ship, what do you do? Okay, so you got to know how to fix your ship, right your ship, and then after that, the last month prior to, it's called your final battle problems. And at this point in time, they combine both everything. You'll be steaming, they'll cut one of your engines and say, hey, you got an inbound missile, but you can't move. What are you gonna do? And they actually turn off the engine, say they secure the fuel or they secure power to something. Okay, also, what we do with the Navy in their infinite wisdom, before we go out to sea to deploy, they send you out before and they try and break the ship. Yes, they run everything. They run you as fast as you can. They'll go as fast as you can. They'll put it in reverse just to make sure that everything works. Okay, I wouldn't recommend doing this in your car. Go as fast as you can and put it in reverse just to see if your car is good. But they do this. They make sure that you know how to operate the ship and that your ship can function, because you are about to go out in a combat zone where anything can happen. And that is what we do. We train when we're not in the actual combat zone. We train every day except for Sundays and Christmas. If there's not any other questions, please feel free to ask me questions, because I write things down, but there's other things that if you ask a question will jog my memory and I can answer something else. But if there's nothing else, I will turn the time back over to, are you next, Don? To Don. Thank you.
My name is Don Gardner. I am a United States Marine Corps veteran. I served at the tail end of Vietnam. My last duty station was with the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing at Cherry Point, North Carolina. I served as a maintenance controller with Headquarters and Maintenance Squadron 27. That squadron was abolished and I was moved into quality assurance, where I served with the KC-130 Hercules aircraft. I now serve with the American Legion Post 39 in Orangeville. We stand here today united in our gratitude and respect for those who've worn the uniform of our nation's armed forces. Veterans Day prompts us to reflect and acknowledge the profound debt we owe those who have served. Throughout our nation, in times of war and peace, our veterans have stood firm against those who would threaten our way of life. From the foreign lands of Europe to the sweltering jungles of Vietnam, from the deserts of Iraq to the mountains of Afghanistan, our service members have faced adversity with courage and determination. To our World War II veterans, now in their later years, you are living proof of the greatest generation. Your courage in the face of global tyranny saved countless lives from darkness. To our Korean veterans, you answered the call when freedom was threatened, standing firm against aggression in a conflict called the Forgotten War. Today, we say emphatically, you are not forgotten. To the Vietnam veterans, you served in a divisive time, often returning home to a nation that failed to appreciate your sacrifice. Today, we reaffirm our gratitude and respect for your service. To the veterans of more recent conflicts in the Middle East and beyond, you've carried the torch of freedom into a new era, facing an enemy that lurks in the shadows. Your ability to adapt and your resilience in the face of unconventional warfare has been nothing short of remarkable. To all who have served in whatever capacity, your commitment to our nation didn't end when you hung up your uniform. You continue to serve as leaders in our community, as volunteers, and as mentors to our youth. You represent the very best of what it means to be an American. But as we express our gratitude, we must also recognize that many of our veterans face significant challenges: post-traumatic stress, physical disabilities, unemployment, homelessness affect far too many who have served. On this Veterans Day, let's renew our commitment to support our veterans in deed as well as words. This support may take many forms. It might mean hiring a veteran or supporting a veteran-owned business. It can mean volunteering at a veteran care center or contributing to an organization that assists volunteers in need. It might be as simple as reaching out to a veteran neighbor to offer friendship and support. Let's also commit to preserving the stories of our veterans for generations. Each veteran's experience is a thread in our nation's history. By listening to their stories, by understanding their sacrifices, we ensure that the true cost of freedom is never forgotten. As we leave here today, let's carry with us a renewed sense of gratitude for the freedoms that we enjoy and a deeper understanding of the peace or the price at which they were bought. Let's honor our veterans not just in words, but with actions, and demonstrate our commitment to their well-being. May God bless our veterans, their families, and may God bless America.
I'd like to give the veterans one more round of applause. Thank you, Chris and Dawn, for being here tonight, and your Post 39. Thank you so much for doing what you've done. Please give them one more round. Next, the American Legion Post 39 will now retire our flags for the evening, and as that is being done, Willie Frisbie will play taps for us. And also afterwards, please enjoy the refreshments in honor of World War I veterans, the Doughboys. We brought donuts, and the thing with, I guess, with those soldiers is, while they were in France, to express appreciation for their service, the little French ladies made donuts, and the soldiers were very appreciative of this and loved those donuts. So that's why they were called Doughboys. It's my understanding.
Before I retired the colors, Brittney, would you please come up here? We've been doing some work in Orangeville trying to raise awareness of the American Legion and to get our communities involved with us. We did a route march and a flag retirement ceremony earlier this year, and I'm gonna let Brittney tell you about it and some of the things that has occurred because of it.
All right, so like Dawn said, we did a rug march. We called it a walk for the fallen. It was a walk to remember those, not only who were either KIA or POWs, it was also for those who continue to battle a war at home with PTSD and homelessness and great strife, grief, and everything that veterans still struggle with today. So it was to bring awareness to our Be the One. American Legion has a Be the One campaign. It is a way for everybody, not just veteran organizations, but civilians alike, to be able to get involved in the war on veteran suicide. And this is a really, really dusted under the rug topic. Nobody wants to talk about the hard topic, right? And I'm gonna put it in the public's face because this topic hits really, really close for me. I am the great-granddaughter of a World War II veteran who died in the Philippines. I am the granddaughter of a Navy or seaman who struggled a lot with PTSD. I'm the wife of a Marine who took his own life after his deployment. So the war on veteran suicide hits really close for me. And I have booklets and cards with information that might help you to bring up the hard conversation with veterans who struggle with thoughts. It also is really, really close for me because today I'm wearing 2 uniforms. I'm wearing my Legion uniform, but I'm also wearing my first responder uniform. I'm on call right now for Emery County Ambulance. Veterans, first responders are among the highest who are rated for suicide and at risk for suicide. And contrary to popular belief, it is not the war on terrorism soldiers that are taking their own lives. Our statistic rating is our Vietnam veterans, our Korean War, Gulf War. These are our veterans we are losing right now statistically to suicide. So I'm going to continue to beat that into the public's view. You're going to see a lot of campaigning on our Facebook page. If you go to American Legion Post 39 in Orangeville, there's a lot of our information on there. There's the Be the One. Our most recent campaign we're going to be doing is we're doing what we're calling Combat Santa. It is going to be our Sub for Santa program. It's open to everybody. We're not doing income restrictions or age restrictions. If you or you know somebody who might need a little bit of help this Christmas, have them fill out a form. That form is kept confidential. The only thing the public will know is a little tag on our Christmas tree that will say what is needed to be purchased for that individual, and then that individual will receive their needs. But back to our Walk for the Fallen. I created a Facebook post and I challenged the public to share it enough to get Donald Trump to come to our walk. Donald Trump was not able to attend our walk, but his office did write us this letter. And because of the sentiment in the second paragraph, I wanted to share that with veterans because it doesn't just apply to Post 39. He has a sentiment for all of us. It reads, Dear Brittney, thank you for your thoughtful invitation. I appreciate you thinking of me and commend you on all the work you're doing to take care of our great American heroes as Adjutant of the American Legion Post 39. I also send my personal thanks for those service members to our country. The dedication to duty and professionalism with which everyone at the American Legion Post 39 and our armed services has served over the course of their long and accomplished careers has significantly contributed to the outstanding legacy of our military and our military service members. You should all be proud of your unwavering leadership and ensured mission success and represented the very best of the United States Armed Services. Melena and I send our best wishes for your success in all your future endeavors. May God continue to bless you and your family. Sincerely, Donald J. Trump. So on behalf of my generation, who have all sorts of programs and different things that we got, to all of those that came before me and my generation, those that you did not have that support, that did not have the community rallied behind you when you got home, I want to thank you for what you have done and your service, because it is service members like you, like my grandfather, who stood as a beacon of why I wanted to serve, why I wanted to be part of the armed services and continue on that great tradition. So thank you.
Okay, Willie, we're ready. Color guard, please retire the colors. Thank you, everyone. I want to second what Brittney said. All of you folks that's older than I and served before you are the reason why I joined. Thank you. Thank you for your service.